If you're one of those entrepreneurs who likes to chill with the big boys, then this is one name that will most likely make your top 100 Nigerian businessmen list. This is a story of a man who breathed life into an ailing business his father left him and went on to build a multi-million-dollar company. It's also a man in the habit of building a company significantly and then leaving the board when the ovation is loudest. Chief Dele Fajemirokun. Let's see how he plotted his path to billions on today's episode of Billionaire's Corner. Unlike the general thinking that he was born into wealth, Dele Fajemirokun was one of 4 children born at a time his parents still lived in a one-room rented apartment in Isaleko. He lived in this apartment with his parents, siblings, and a couple of relatives, and the less than desired living conditions created an early hunger to better his lot. As a child, he was quite restive and earned the nickname Daily Times or Daily Trouble. He noted in his autobiography that his father once regretted not including suicidal as his middle name, but Dele chose to describe his behavior at this time as having a positively deviant approach to life. In spite of this, he was an intelligent child, and even his teachers admitted that his vices did not take away from his brains. Dele obtained a BSc in Business Economics from the University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University, and also bagged a doctorate from the University of Los Angeles, USA. Fajemirokun says that he probably picked up trading from both of his parents who were traders, and his educational background in business economics also played its part. Dele Fajemirokun was 28 when his father died and somehow had to deal with the expectation that it was time to step into his father's shoes. His scant experience in his father's business did not do much for his confidence, as he had only worked as a sweeper in his father's warehouse and a tally clerk in his clearing and forwarding company while he was a student. Thanks to his late father's excellent and accurate record-keeping practice, Dele was quick to catch up. His father's deputy took over as the chairman and managing director, while Dele became the group executive director of Henry Stevens Group, comprising about 19 companies. Though many people thought that he wholly inherited the business, Dele only took one more responsibility after his father's demise. His first business challenge came when he came to the reality that behind the scenes of his father's huge wealth, as was publicly perceived, his father had used all but one of his properties in Nigeria to guarantee huge loan debts he had with First Bank and Union Bank. In the face of this challenge, Dele was able to negotiate an additional loan of 200,000 naira at the time from First Bank under the leadership of Chief Samuel Asabia, and injected a new lease of life into the group, paying off all the debt within the next 10 years. By this time, some of the companies in the group had gone under, but the Henry Stevens Group remained. When the Nigerian federal government wanted to sell his shares in ICO Insurance in the early 90s, Dele purchased the 11% stake in the company, making him the second largest shareholder in the company after America Insurance Group. In this privatization exercise, the federal government did not want an individual or entity to get all the shares, but Fajemirokun used 11 shelf companies to purchase 1% shares each and legally ended up with all of it. He bid his time till about a decade later and purchased ICO Bahamas' 40% stake in the company, making him the largest shareholder in ICO Insurance PLC. One noteworthy risk he took as chairman of the board of ICO Pensions was using his main house as collateral to enable the company raise a draft of 650 million naira in 24 hours before the company's license could be reissued by its regulator after the pension reform. Dele Fajemirokun was one who would never let his fear or anything get in the way of his business. At some time, he flew to the war-torn Zagreb 4 or 5 times at the height of the Bosnia-Serbia war for business with his personal supply of excellent whiskey. He has also had to weather through lots of business and personal challenges in his journey of growing a multi-million-dollar business. Today, Dele Fajemirokun can be listed among Nigeria's billionaires and has interests and stakes in over 40 enterprises in key sectors of the economy, ranging from insurance to telecommunications, oil and gas, agriculture, and manufacturing. In creating and growing his other businesses, is, Dele is known for taking advantage of his relationships and friendships from way back to create outstanding business partnerships that minimize his risk in business and extend his rewards. Some of these companies are ICO Insurance, Food Concepts and Entertainment, that's Chicken Republic Butterfield Bakery, Johnson Wax, maker of Bygone and Raid Insecticide, First Hydrocarbon Nigeria Ltd, Kings Guards Limited, FSS Gases, Multishield Limited, Blue Chip Communication, DF Holdings Limited, and many more. In his autobiography, he recalled that the University of Ife was where he forged relationships with many friends who later became business partners. He described the friends or business partners as the War Council and narrated how they casually purchased a plot of land without any clear idea of what to do with it, and fortune smiled on them when it snowballed into a high-rise development in Banana Island. A company approached them with a proposal to develop the land and offered to give them as owners of the land some units in the property once it was developed. That's how Dele got a penthouse in the development when it was completed. No doubt it is a business strategy that worked well for Fajemirokun and his friends. Another thing that seems to be his style is building a business significantly and leaving the board while the ovation is loudest. A quick example of this is how he led Food Concepts PLC to establish over 60 Chicken Republic branches in Nigeria and Ghana, as well as 9 bakeries, and then resigned from the board. His autobiography, The Making of Me, details more daring business ventures that he has embarked on over the years. One striking story is that of how he offered an American company, TCAS, a bridging loan of $50,000 to stay afloat, but did this in exchange for 51% shareholding in the business and demanded that he be made the executive chairman. He then went on to stake his only piece of landed property as collateral to get the sum from the bank as a loan. Shortly after, TCAS was paid the millions of dollars it was owed by the Ministry of Communication that had it struggling to stay afloat as a company. As majority shareholder, Fajemirokun got a whopping $11 million. It almost sounds like a get-rich-quick scheme, yeah? But a legitimate one. His gamble on a company that had no guarantee of survival paid off. Overnight, Dele Fajemirokun became the billionaire he had always wanted to be, and at the young age of 29. Of course, Chief Dele Fajemirokun has other interests like supporting the needs of others through his foundation of Dele Fajemirokun Foundation, and these interests are economic empowerment and providing access to quality education and healthcare for the vulnerable of the society. With all these accomplishments, Chief Dele Fajemirokun is a businessman who refuses to admit to actually being one. He would rather be described as an economist or a director of business. Either way, he's a billionaire. And that's your episode today on Billionaire's Corner. Be sure to like, share with your fellow aspiring businessmen, and subscribe to our channel.